Welcome to the Irish Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Jerry. I'm joined again by Corey Brennan from Fightful. We're here to talk about AEW Revolution, and we are looking ahead to NXT's Roadblock, the last kind of stop before Stand and Deliver. We're going to find out some big matches. Hopefully, someone we're hoping for. We're going to be at the Stand and Deliver, so we're hoping for one big main event match. We hope he's going to be in it, so we'll talk about that in a bit. Some news before we get into AEW Revolution. Paul Heyman, as of this recording, has just been inducted to the Hall of Fame for 2024. Corey, Philadelphia are going to welcome Paul Heyman to the Hall of Fame. How do you think that's going to go down?
I think it's going to be probably one of those inductions that they'll play for years to come. It's the perfect time. It's the perfect kind of scenario to get him in, and I think it couldn't have come at a better time, mainly because of Punk's return as well. I think Punk should induct him.
Oh, I didn't even think of Punk.
I think people really wanted the ECW connection of Dudley's or Rob Van Dam. I just want Punk sitting up there, even with the cast, stuff with the embrace. It's just kind of just a little wink to Roman. I'm still the original Paul Heyman guy. I just want that for that.
That's a good show, because when I saw people are saying, Tommy Dreamer or Bully or Bubba Ray or maybe even Roman Reigns or something. But CM Punk is a great choice.
The minute I saw that, I was just like, it's got to be Punk. It has to be Punk.
It's not going to be Taker either, because he was like, WCW Heyman guy from the Paulie Dangerous Alliance, and Stone Cold as well was in the Dangerous Alliance. So
there's a lot of options. Like he's been involved. Like, to be honest, if obviously with everything going on, Brock is out of the question. Usually you would think with how close they were for so long but I think it has to be Punk, because just they need something for him to do in his injury time, and people are saying they want him to host, they want him to commentate, they want him to do this and this. He's at his best when he's just speaking off the cuff, and that's exactly what he'd be doing.
That's a perfect spot for him, even if there was nothing else that whole weekend. That's perfect.
I think Heyman is one of those names that I don't think anyone can really look at that and say he doesn't deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the most undeniable. I think a lot of people wanted Bray to headline it, but I think Bray. I think it's still early days. I think there's a lot of people who are still healing from Bray's loss. And I think it's a bit early for that. If he does go in this year, I'd love to see Bray go in as soon as possible. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, but I don't think it's realistic for this year. So Paul was going to be the obvious other candidate to headline. I'd really like to see the rest of the class, to be honest, be mainly ECW names.
It should be. The Dudleys are there already, aren't they?
They're already in. But to be honest, you could arguably put both of them in individually if you really wanted to. Rob's already in. Dreamer, I can't remember. I don't think Dreamer is yet, is it?
Not yet.
No. So Dreamer could go in, especially with the recent TNA
Sabu
stuff.
Or Sandman or somebody.
They have options, and at the end of the day, Philadelphia is ECW's home ground. So I think if you're not just going ECW, I'd love to see Batista, but obviously that goes with his schedule.
I would think, because he was supposed to be in 2020. That was, and he is from he's from Philadelphia, isn't he? He grew up in Pennsylvania area, somewhere near Philadelphia.
Batista, Jesus,
honestly, definitely Pennsylvania in his working entrance. I remember him from somewhere in Pennsylvania. I can't remember whether it was.
But now that you mention that
maybe Washington DC or somewhere closer.
I think he was billed as Washington. I think yes, you are. You're right. It was Washington. But still, at the end of the day, he's someone that, again, same thing as him. No one can doubt his inclusion. He's someone that everyone loves. There's not really anyone that has a bad word to say about Batista. So. Circling back again, just to him and in general, I really hope that we get to see. It's a shame because there's a lot of promos that they can't use for obvious reasons. That's one, and obviously, the situation involved is much more important than a Hall of Fame video package.
Of course, yeah.
But for Heyman, there's a lot of stuff that he's done, even the dressing down of Vince promo, like that's one of his biggest moments. It genuinely just off the cuff, like everyone's heard the story of like Vince telling him go make him money.
Yeah.
But we still have likes of the JBL One Night Stand promo. We have all the Punk work, we've all the Roman work.
Yeah.
We've got the Big Show work. We've got
Ryback, Curtis Axel.
I'd rather not be. I think even Paul would rather not think about that stuff. But
Cesaro actually wasn't he for a bit?
Yeah, that's one that I think Heyman has worked with so many people and he's impacted so many careers that there's going to be no shortage of people who are just going to be able, like, just putting their tributes out there. So I feel like it's going to be very similar to what we saw with Sting, where just it's going to be this outpouring of respect because at the end, as a booker, as a coach, as a promoter, he's done it all. So yeah, I'm very happy to see him going on.
Yeah. Just a bit of other news before we get into Revolution. TNA have announced, as of this recording again, straight after I found out about Paul Heyman, they sent a press release out saying they've renewed their partnership with Warner Brothers Discovery. So broadcasting exclusive weekly content via Eurosport in India. So the multi-year deal includes all new episodes of the Hindi language wrestling show that they use, as well as TNA. There's 8 new TNA Presents specials each year, putting fans in front and center of all intense action, blockbuster stories, and world-class athletes. Well, the extension also features new episodes of the popular Hindi language series Pilawani Pakatagi, showcasing top highlights from the promotion's flagship TNA Impact series, as well as iconic moments from TNA's storied legacy. So big news for TNA for the South Asia part of the world, where there's a massive contingent of wrestling fans there, and TNA are for 20 years have been seriously well popular over there, ahead of WWE in some territories.
Yeah,
good news for TNA.
TNA, like, I think TNA are in a very delicate situation right now, where they are trying to really put their all into the rebrand. But I think the exit of Scott D'Amore has really thrown a wrench in those plans, because like it's been like Josh Alexander was very clear that he didn't really want his contract to be picked up, but they picked it up anyway. He didn't hold any resentment to that, of course, because Josh is one of those guys. He's gonna do his job, and he's gonna do it very well.
Yeah, and see out his contract either way.
So we'll see how many other situations we're gonna see like that. They did manage to bring in Alex Hammerstone on the full-time deal.
That's a big deal for them. Yeah,
and as you mentioned, like, this is a big deal for them. It's a big distribution deal to help bring more, just bring in more fans from a very, very, very lucrative market.
Massive,
and we've seen it over the years, just in that part of the world, where every company has that representative from that part of the world, where they do get their pushes. They are a superstar in that region. And that's not a slight in any means, because like you've got Jinder and so on, and you've got Satnam Singh, who AEW have got behind in spades. Like, you can see just by how he's used, really. And it's good, and it's good for TNA as well, especially when you consider, like, we know, especially TNA has a lot of roots in distributing outside the US. Like, we had it on Challenge for so long in Ireland, like, so those deals are very important, because like it's been very well documented how much of the fan base TNA does have in the UK and Ireland, like. So huge. I think this kind of deal is just it's a very good timing, especially with everything going on with Scott and everything. And and again, like I said, the Alex Hammerstone. So I'm still cautiously excited for TNA. I hope that they can put all this drama behind them, and because there is so much talent on that roster.
Yeah, well, like besides Hammerstone, they have Nick Nemeth floating around. They have Mustafa Ali, who's new X Division champion. So there's they brought in a lot of talent. Whether Mustafa's signed yet, I'm not sure. Is he officially signed with them? But he is a champion at the minute there. So
I couldn't tell you. Like, I've no like idea personally, but they're not afraid to bring in these stars and use them how they deserve. Like, even if Mustafa isn't Like I've been campaigning for Joe to like give him a ring, bring him to Ireland, because he is one of the best wrestlers in the world. And I do like seeing him on TNA, and I'm glad that TNA have let him use that gimmick that he's been doing, the president gimmick, because it's brilliant.
It's
and
perfect.
again, I know most of is Chicago born and raised, but he is Muslim. He is someone who is proud of that heritage. So I'm very happy to see him being used like that. And again, this deal will only help that those stars be more popular, I guess.
Absolutely. So moving on to what we're here for, we are here to talk about AEW Revolution, first of all, before we get into NXT Roadblock. Corey, NXT Revolution. My God, what's going on? AEW Revolution. What did you think overall as a show?
Overall, I think it was one of the best pay-per-views AEW have ever put out. And to be honest, I'm trying to think in my head, top to bottom wrestling wise, I don't think anything comes close.
Yeah.
In terms of moments and stuff, you can argue the likes of All Out 2021 with the doubleheader of Cole and Danielson. You had Punk's first match, but everything on this show, even I joked about before we recorded about the scramble being missable. It was still a fun scramble. It was ugly. There was a couple of mistakes, but like it's an 8-man match. It's not gonna go perfect.
Chaos, unorganized chaos.
So outside that, I didn't really find there to be anything on the show that I could complain about, or even nitpick. I think we'll obviously go through the show piece by piece like we usually do, but as a whole, I had no problem staying up the whole till 5 a.m. to watch it. So
I had no problem waking up at 5 a.m. to watch it.
Yeah,
a lot of the matches had not saying they were similar. There was a story arc between all of them, like with Christian, and we can get into the first match in a minute. Like, but with this, they were telling the story throughout of, there was an injury angle with Christian's leg and the finger poke in the eye, Garcia, and they were selling it for a lot longer than you would see in a normal match. Like, a finger poke normally lasts a couple of seconds in a normal match, and Garcia sold it for a good 5 minutes. Like, so that was, a good way of like putting it over, and with Christian throwing him in and out of the ring and not going for the count out at the start and then going for the count out, and the commentators really hyping up that, it was
Nigel especially.
Yeah. Did you watch? I haven't seen the buy-in. I didn't watch the buy-in. Did you watch the buy-in?
I did. I caught the women's tag match. I didn't. I caught Jay White's promo after the tag match, and I hate to sound like all these bad faith people who are trying to use Jay White's booking to be like he should have went to WWE, but he needs to be utilized better.
Yeah,
I hate to say it because there's so many bad faith arguments, but there is a legitimate argument to be made that he should be used better. I know where they're going with this Bang Bang Scissor Gang. I like the Acclaimed. I love Bullet Club Gold. I hate this unity.
Makes no sense.
I like where they're going with it. Anytime that Max Caster gets shut up, and right now I love Max, but right now he shouldn't be rapping. He's not hitting any of them, in my opinion. That is, and I just think that they've done a really good job of, like, people are like, oh, he's messing up and all this and that, but like, I think it's probably been orchestrated.
Was the first mess up an actual mess up, and they're like, oh, we'll keep it going.
We'll probably never know, but like, let's be honest, Max doesn't mess up normally.
I know, yeah.
He's not. He never messes these up. So in the back, I'm getting worked here now.
Live TV, you never know.
Yeah, but like,
how many times have I messed up already?
But yeah, I was very excited to see Jay White very clearly say, big business, you better be paying attention because there's going to be something going on there. And he didn't say very clearly that it's going to be Okada, but as Sean did report earlier this weekend on Fightful Select, you can get it for $5, whatever that is in euros now. Have to plug it, I'm sorry.
$4.75.
But yeah, I think it's very clear that they're going to run Okada and Jay White next.
Straight away.
And I think that's very smart. I think that's exactly what Tony should be doing. If it's him listening to people, if he books that, even if it's just as a very brief singles feud to a couple of weeks just to kind of introduce Okada, bring Jay back up to that singles star level again. And so that was very fun. And I'm very much looking forward to Big Business, mainly because of that as well. Obviously, we know what's coming there in a lot of ways. But so, and then just kind of, I don't want to step on your toes, but the tag match was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The tag match was something that very early on in it, I kind of just sat there and I realized this match should have been on the main show.
Why wasn't it? There was only one women's match again on a pay-per-view.
And I understand why there's not always going to be room for two, but I think in this case, if you're not going to run a TBS title match, that match goes on the main card. I feel like you could swap that into Scramble.
The Scramble. They could have easily had the Scramble on Dynamite. That's
like if they're just using it
to put Wardlow over, like they don't,
And like, of course, with Mercedes coming in, we do know like that there's obviously they're not gonna just not use her. They're not gonna just not use whoever's champion. Like they're setting up Serena Deeb. So
was Julia still injured? She was kind of protected again. Like,
I didn't see. That's the thing. I didn't really pick up anything of her being hurt. Like she didn't seem like she was hurt, and it didn't seem like she was even being protected. Skye took a lot of bumps, yes, but I think that's just how that. To be honest, that's how their dynamic kind of is going to work. Skye's going to take a lot of the brunt of, like, you can't always have Brody out there for Julia. Like, as much as I love seeing Willow barking at Brody, like, but yeah, Willow and Kris. I said this on Twitter during it. I said, "There's no chance in hell. Like, they're already stars. They're already stars. Like at the end of the day, like that's." Willow is probably the most likable wrestler on the planet. I genuinely can't see anyone disliking her. And Kris is just amazing at everything she does. She's hilarious. She's constantly getting involved with the fans. So that tag match, and of course now we're probably going to get Willow or Kris against Julia again, and gives Julia a chance to show off as well in singles competition again.
We'll see what happens with it. Well, we'll get into the main card. We kicked off the show with Christian and against Darby Allin. A lot of rumors going around, or a lot of people.
Garcia, my man.
Yeah, do you do his dance? Can you do it?
It was an opener that I think a lot of people got worked into thinking that Garcia was walking out the winner.
A lot of people were talking about maybe Copeland was playing up the injury angle and he was going to cost him, but.
As much as I wanted Garcia to win, I can see why they went with Christian. Christian, as ever, it's insane at his age. He's still one of the best in-ring workers they've got.
Yeah.
He has crowd in the palm of his hand every single time. I'm not a fan of the whole patriarchy as a whole. I like Nick being a part of it. I'm kind of on the fence with Killswitch. I could do without Mother Wayne screaming about being a mother every time, every promo. But I loved seeing Nick Wayne getting a chance again to kind of just show off, like, look what I can do at the end.
Thrown into the barricades over the top of them and disappear for the whole match.
And then show up just to do the rope cutter,
just to the perfect spot.
And then, of course, I can't talk about this match without talking about two distinct people. One being Nigel McGuinness. Because Nigel McGuinness with Christian Cage is in the ring. I know we all talk about with Danielson and Clan Digging, but when Christian Cage is in the ring, crowd booing him, and Nigel just standing on his feet going, they love him here. Like, he's just brilliant. And then the other would be Daddy Magic popping up, and the pop that he got just for showing up. Like, I love Daddy Magic. I think 2.0 are a tag team that I really wish didn't get split up.
Yeah, why did they get split up? What's going on
there? They want to do it's
not just because of Ruby and Saraya's angle, is it?
I feel like they want to keep Angelo a little more heelish. I think that's the issue, and Daddy Magic is very, very, very strongly babyface right now. He's Daniel Garcia's dad, like in character, like. So I understand why they're keeping them separate, but I love seeing Daddy Magic coming out, and mainly the fact that he pushed Killswitch or Luchasaurus or whatever the heck you want to call him now, But the fact that he pushed him back without a chair or anything, I love that. I love seeing that. But I think the match itself, again, Garcia showing that he's one of the future stars of this industry.
Yeah.
And when he's put it all together with everything right now, his promos, the dance, character work, the face turn, even collision promo beforehand where he was talking about karma, just brilliant work from him. So whatever he does next, I just keep him on television. Whatever comes next for him, just keep him on TV, keep him there, keep him fresh. Because
is the rankings going to keep him away from Christian? Is there a chance there's a rematch in the lane?
I think the fact that Copeland didn't have any involvement in the match kind of really showed that they're not finished with that story. Still, I feel like if Copeland had got like involved and Daniel had won, that would have been taking the TNT title out of that equation. But now it feels like they were almost. I really don't know what way they're going to go with it. I don't know if they're going to actually strap up Copeland in the end, but Christian, I have no problem with Christian still being champion.
Yeah, absolutely. Christian is as good as anybody. He's probably, the best heel in the business at the minute. Forget about Dominic Mysterio because he's getting booed because people just really don't like him. Christian is just brilliant. Like the way he sold that leg throughout the whole match. And then when he went with the spear spot and his knee gave out, gave out, and he went in like he had completely sold the whole match. And I think he even sold it. He was selling it after the match was over, just to keep it going.
I think a lot of people forget that he was one of those wrestlers who we thought never was going to wrestle again. We thought he was ruled out medically.
He was doing that Age and Christian show, like when Christian Age was gone, like Age, retired, and they had that spot in the network, and then it was like, oh, his time's up, kind of thing.
I definitely want to talk about more later with Sting, but I think AEW being a home for these stars who they just want to go out on their own terms, and Tony's perfectly happy to let them do that. And so I think just Christian's just gone through. Yeah. I think it's a gift that we get this run out.
Yeah, it was same like on to the next match. We had the same Bryan Danielson. He Age Christian, older people, like he was gone. He was retired. So I know he came back in WWE, and he was doing a lot of stuff that he shouldn't be doing. But when he went to AEW at the start, we were like, oh, he's going to he's going to be on a part-time schedule, and he's not going to be taking too many bumps. He's going to be nice and easy matches. Like, fuck that shit.
No way. That's just not who he is, and I'm so glad. I think there is a little bit of a missed opportunity with the fact that he just doesn't want to be a babyface. He doesn't want to win championships. He just wants to wrestle everyone.
They mentioned last night, like the name Coppet, that he'd never won a championship in AEW.
And I honestly did think that he was going to win last night. I thought he was walking out even for a short reign, just to give him a title win, because I don't see him winning the AEW World Title. Like I think
he doesn't need it.
He doesn't need it. He's one of the greatest. Everyone. It's a general consensus for everyone. He's one of the greatest ever do it. He always will be. He doesn't need the accolades at this stage of his career.
Not at all.
He's just all about wrestling everyone he can while he can.
Yeah, so he's fulfilling the dream. Like he wanted to wrestle in Japan. Like that's the one thing he never got a chance to do. So he got to do it when he's wrestling all these people, all these Japanese wrestlers in America. Like all Eddie's idols or heroes or people he looked up to. Like it's just what a way to tell the story into the match. First of all,
and I think that match was just I genuinely thought after that match I was like, right, I know Ospreay's on the show, I know the triple threat is still on the show, I know Sting's, but I didn't think it was going to be top because it was such a really just brilliantly told story that Bryan working the arm all match. To the point that even after the handshake, after Eddie tried to lift Eddie's hand, Eddie was like, no, Eddie was like, right, no, you were working that, you got to grab the other one.
Yeah, but, and the fact that Eddie beat him with a powerbomb, it's, I know he's beaten people with it before, but the finish came out of nowhere kind of thing. We're like, what, really?
It was just it was like a case of that. I loved that Danielson slapped him before he shook his hand. Danielson, and you cannot convince me that Bryan does not remember the John Cena promo, that John Cena promo where he slapped Cena, and like he was talking about what it meant as respect and all that, and then of course, I don't know if you saw it, but the digital exclusive they put up after
Yeah,
two of
I
them in the
watched it.
trainer's room is probably my favorite. Like they
Respect him. Yeah.
just the way they're both just sitting there, like just kind of like grinning to themselves, like that was fucking
Yeah.
brilliant. Like, Eddie Kingston is. I know, I know we've kind of got a sour like feeling in Ireland because we missed out on seeing him in OTT and all that, but he really is just one of those guys that he's just. You can say whatever you want about the way he looks, the way he acts, all this, that, and the other, but he's just such a fantastic pro
Hmm.
wrestler at the end of the day.
You
And
believe everything he does. Everything.
uh, and this the entire like people have been like were saying like before the Continental Classic, and
Mm.
even when he won the Ring of Honor World Title, that he's not being booked as he should be. He should be this absolute world beater, and he's just
He
beat
is.
Danielson 3 times in a row in 3 huge matches. He
Yeah.
beat Claudio twice. Like he's in a position,
Big
and then he beat
Moxley. Yeah.
Mox. Yeah, he's made man right now. And whenever he does lose that Continental crown, he's going after that world title. And that's the thing. Right now,
I'd they could put him in it right now. I'd
Tony
believe
Khan
it.
Tony Khan is at a point now where he could get a hat, get a bunch of names of his roster, throw them into the hat, pick one at random, crown them in a month, and I don't think anyone will complain because they have so many people just lined up ready to be made world champion. And that's gone under the radar, I feel, because they've got Okada, they've got Jay White, they've got Ospreay, it's just, but just to get us moving off this match.
They've got the rankings, so they need to get the rankings, and someone who is going up in the rankings is Wardlow. His win-loss record is going back up. The 2024 has been the resurgence of Wardlow, and what was supposed to be a Meat Madness match turned into an All Star Scramble, which was
such
all over the place in parts. But at the end of the day, it was always going to be Wardlow.
Yeah, it was the first time since Dante Martin came back that I felt like he'd been injured. Like it was the first match that he didn't have flawless since his return. And I don't know if that was the bigger stage. I know he's done it before, but this was obviously the biggest stage he's been on since the injury. So the match in general, it was ugly, but it was still fun. And I get why people used it as kind of a skip match or a food or a bathroom break match, because that's what Scramble is at the end of the day, especially one that's just throwing everyone who's not on the card in. Like, it was just a device to get Wardlow that world title shot. And I think Wardlow at the moment is most interesting he's been since Double or Nothing 2022.
Wardlow, like his teaming with the Undisputed Empire or whatever they're calling themselves, Undisputed Kingdom, right? Is completely opposite to his promos that he's doing on his own in the ring. Like a Collision and Dynamite are completely like, almost babyface promos who've been screwed over and they want the champion, like, and he's teaming then with these guys. It's just like, he's not giving that title to Adam Cole if he wins it. Like,
yeah, I know that we've got the Young Bucks making the references to Punk every other fucking week, it feels at this point. But Wardlow as well is not the person that I expected to be dropping all these like references and all that,
cutting promos,
and it's and, like, that's the thing. Like, that's the one part of his game that I think really he was struggling with, and then he turned heel or even tweener at first. And then that moment where he grabbed Max backstage at I can't remember, I think it was Grand Slam, or it was in the lead up to Grand Slam. I can't remember when it was. But when he grabbed him, that was the turning point for me where I was like, right, this version of Wardlow is gonna hit. Then he was part of the Undisputed Kingdom, and I kind of initially was like, are we really doing this again? But it feels like it's different this time. He's got his own voice, as we've said. And he was the right guy, obviously, to win that scramble. Him and Joe didn't really set the world on fire with the program before, but I feel like now they're both in a different kind of Joe especially is in like a different kind of stratosphere now, where like I feel like that will be a really fun match when we do get it again.
Yeah, hopefully. Um, Going into another title picture, we had Orange Cassidy defending the international title against Roderick Strong, who is part of the Undisputed Kingdom, who actually picked up the win with no shenanigans.
None at all.
Clean as a whistle. He beat Orange Cassidy, who's been, you know, his win-loss record in AEW is probably second to none.
And we say clean as a whistle, but like with Orange, it's kind of the case of that they did a really good job of making it that whenever he did lose his championship, no one was going to turn around and be like, "Oh, well, that he shouldn't have lost." Or
Yeah.
such. They've been building the story of he's literally working every single week. He's picking up these injuries, and I know that I loved all the memes of Doc Samson going to Orange in the back, right? You've got to have these target marks, basically the medical tip. Like going in with a man that's known for his backbreakers, and like it was a brilliantly. I wish Excalibur brought it up. He did obviously bring it up that he was obviously hurt, and I think Orange did a great job early on of like urgency, like usual. But the right man won.
Absolutely.
And I love Orange Cassidy. I think he's one of the best in the world. I think he's one of the best characters, the best ring workers, bell to bell in the world. And now maybe again, like I said, Tony can't put his hand into a hat. Orange Cassidy can pop up. He's ready at this point. And
his back isn't ready though.
Oh no, I think now Orange is going to go through something like MJF. He's going to be off screen for a little while. I hope he is anyway.
I think he definitely needs a break, because when he lost the title at the start, this first reign, it looked like he was taking some time off, and then
he was immediately back.
He just came straight back.
I think the Mox injury rushed him back.
Yeah,
I think the Mox concussion did rush him back then. But now he does have that chance to kind of step back a little and kind of do let his body heal and then come back even better. And
I'd love to see him back in OTT.
Love to see him anywhere in the world.
Him and Barry in OTT as a tag team. Just a once off would be
absolutely
epic.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
But as for like the match itself, the backbreaker spot on the apron, or not the apron, the top rope.
The top rope, yeah.
Like Orange Cassidy is an absolute lunatic for some of the bumps that he has taken. And I do really like I know I did say that. It's not really clean, but it is clean. No kingdom interference, no shenanigans. But my God, I don't think the match came even close to what happened after.
No.
I have never been more happy to see a return than I was to see that man coming fresh out of CIA black site.
How long did it take to recognize him?
The minute it wasn't even his face, it was his stance. It was the way he was standing that caught, like he was kind of standing behind Roddy at first, and you could just see him hunched over. It was like that's exactly what he did every fucking other time he snuck in. And I like that he's not going to be part of the Undisputed Kingdom. Well, it looks like he's not.
At the minute, yeah. Depends what happens with Wardlow and Adam Cole, like, but
I love the reaction for him. I loved how emotional he got. He was, I say I love, but I love that he knows how loved he is. Like Shawn did say on social media, and it's been kind of quietly said for a while now, that we didn't, like, Kyle was someone who they didn't know was ever going to be able to wrestle again, because again, that kind of neck surgery is just touch and go.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's cleared, well, I assume he's cleared if he's back, but there's a whole, like, Kyle and Roddy feuding into the summer for the international title. I don't think a single person in this world will say no to that.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of people really, really want Bobby Fish back, but again, Bobby's doing his own thing.
Yeah,
he's doing his own thing, and at the end of the day, we don't always need to just throw everyone together.
No, you don't. Just nostalgia doesn't have to be all the time. Like, if they're going to feud with Roddy and Kyle anyway, like,
it's time for Kyle to kind of be his own guy, especially, and we kind of saw that briefly before his injury. Like, I know we only got like 2 or 3 matches before he was out, but that match with Mox was so much fun. Like when he did have that match with him, and yeah, I'm just so happy for Kyle to be back, and I'm just so happy to see he's happy to be back, and just so much fun.
Somebody else who's coming back. There was a promo as well for Pac, the bastard. What a promo! What a wicked fucking way to say you're coming back. I still don't know, is he under that contract where he's got, he's at home for months of the year, and he doesn't come. He's not moving to America, so he's just staying there. Like, is he coming back again for another 6 weeks and then disappearing again?
I can't say to the inner workings of it myself. That's Pac's story to tell.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, again, Shawn did say there was a worry that Pac would never wrestle again either.
Yeah.
He was. I don't know. I wouldn't even begin to know the inner workings of it. That again, that's Pac's story to tell. I don't believe in people talking about it and speculating on it. Again, it's an injury, it's a health issue, or it's none of our business unless they want us to know, and it shouldn't be released by anyone. And unfortunately, there have been people who have been kind of hinting at it and trying to. We both know who I'm referring to here, unfortunately. But yeah, the promo itself just absolutely perfect. And again, I hate to keep coming back to this, but like he's someone who you can throw into the world title picture, right now,
absolutely.
And again, if he's coming back with that kind of attitude,
Pac against Joe, Jesus,
that like, and this is the thing again, and I think one of my favorite things about Pac in general is when you see him outside of a wrestling perspective, anytime I see a picture of him with Finn, with Balor, and you see him like back in the UC days, he's just a completely different person. But I think he's one of those guys.
Ponytail up and glasses on.
Nice, looks like looks like you'd bump into him in an office, or something.
Patches on his jacket, like a school lecture or something.
But I was so excited to see that visionette, and even more excited to see how not even detailed it was, but how much that they did in 90 seconds to sell you on he's coming back, and he's coming back with a new kind of motivation, which has always been his kind of problem in AEW. He kind of feels like he's been kind of middling in his storylines.
Part of the Death Triangle, besides his feud with Kenny and Orange Cassidy in that time, but the Death Triangle, he's been part of a faction, so
yeah.
I think Pac, as a single star on his own with nobody around, book him strong and let him go out and kill people.
I do wish, a part of me wishes just for the memes that we got more of did you think you could get rid of me forever? Just one more time, because it's just so good. But now that I've said that Continental Crown, that could look good on him.
Yeah.
Another title for him under his belt. And so I know, just very much looking forward to seeing him back.
One match that wasn't a title match, a tag team match, BCC, Moxley and Claudio against FTR, happening in Greensboro, North Carolina, home off FTR, pretty much. Normally AEW would book the hometown favorites as the winners, but on this occasion, not saying anything. The match was outstanding, but BCC got the win,
and they got it with an exclamation point with the double choke out.
Yeah,
and Dax Harwood, I do not have any idea how he got split open.
I didn't see that.
I've watched the match back. I can't see where he would have bladed. I can't see where he would have got busted up the hard way. And one of the worst head wounds in recent memory for me. Just it looked like he'd been hit in the head with an ice pick or something.
Yeah.
Well, Mox probably would have tried if he was allowed.
But he was trying to bite it off, no one Mox.
I know it's given, but that they're all being tested before they do it all.
I know, but he doesn't care.
Jesus, it's so you can't help but just go, why is there so much bodily fluid being transferred between these men? Come on, lads.
He didn't drink it like Hangman did, but still
No, but the match itself, like you said, outstanding tag team wrestling. I love the BCC entrance. I know you didn't get a chance to see the entrances, but I don't know if you saw the Road Warriors entrance. They had the shoulder
pads on. Yeah,
yeah, it was brilliant, and one of the best Doomsday devices I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Oh my good lord, that Doomsday device absolutely blew my mind. Claudio Castagnoli, I know we've seen him as Ring of Honor World Champion, but he's another guy again. When they do decide to, if they do decide to put the AEW World Title on him, I don't think anyone's going to complain about that either.
No.
But right now, Mox and Claudio could be the favorites for the tournament for the new AEW World Title.
I can't see anybody else do it.
You know,
FTR keep losing. They keep losing.
You know, they're going to be in that bracket, but I do think I think they're going to. I think FTR, it's coming to a point now where FTR are going to be written off soon. Obviously, Cash has his legal troubles to be dealing with, but obviously he's trying to get in as much as he can before all that drama kind of takes him away from the ring.
Yeah.
I hope in that time, obviously Dax is someone who we've seen is a great singles wrestler as well. So hopefully we don't see Dax kind of step away as well. But yeah, I really don't have fault again with this match. I really think again the tag team division in AEW is in a really good spot, and I think the best possible scenario coming out was the main event result. But obviously we'll get to that in a
bit. Yeah. But like, you know, before we move on from that, like a match or where there was blood and Moxley didn't bleed is always a bonus. You know,
the man hasn't been bladed or had any blood in any match since before the Continental Classic.
I know something's changed.
That man got sick and fucking tired of everyone talking about the Discord. That man was just like, right, I'm gonna take. All right, okay, I get it, lads. I get it. I'll stop for a little bit, but I'm not stopping forever because we all know that man is gonna just go back to doing that because he loves it.
Absolutely. The women's match came up next. Toni Storm against Deonna Purrazzo. Not the best match on the card. There was a lot of uncertainty. I'm not sure it was uncertainty of some of the spots. There was a bit of stalling. They weren't sure where they were supposed to be at some parts of the match.
I feel like Timeless Toni is someone whose gimmick is connecting a lot better than her in-ring work with the character is. We all know how good she is. We all know she's one of the best women's wrestlers in the world on her day, but there's a lot that she has to give because of this gimmick. She can't have the same kind of explosiveness that she used to have because she's trying to play this over the top actress, following a script, goofy, like it. And that's not to say that it's terrible. Like, it's good, goofy wrestling, but I think for a lot of fans, you associate Toni Storm with top of the line wrestling work. And Deonna was not even close to being at fault for anything, really. It's just there's something not clicking with the Timeless Toni in ring.
I think her, like you were saying, her character is brilliant. Her in-ring style, like Toni Storm's impeccable wrestler, like, but the character and the in-ring style aren't the same character. No. Like, her character's over, but she's wrestling as a heel, but she's still trying to play up to the character. It's kind of facey, and something's just not mashing them.
It feels like they're building to the Mariah story. I feel like right now, I feel like right now, I don't think that Mercedes is going to be near that title for a little bit. Probably not till All In time.
Yeah.
But so they've got a while yet to kind of build this reign up for that time. Pardon the pun. But you've also got the likes of Jamie Hayter coming back from injury. I don't know what her status is, but she has been out the time that her injury was supposed to take to recover from. Obviously, we don't know the inner workings of her recovery, so we can't say for certain, but that's going to be something as well that's going to kind of add another influx into that division. And they also have Britt, who's waiting in the wing. She hasn't been on TV in a while.
But she's not injured, though, is she?
No, she's not injured. They just took her off TV for a while because fans were kind of not sick of her, but she was on TV too much.
All the time, yeah.
And they did the same kind of thing with Sheeta as well, which I think wasn't the best decision in the world because Sheeta's probably again, one of the best women's workers in the world. But they have these women who aren't on the show all the time. Then you also have Willow and Kris who have been getting TV time lately. So the women's division right now, it's it's not like that they don't have the talent to have two matches on Dynamite or have two women's matches on the show. So just circling back to the match itself, if you can't have Tony have the big women's match, like the match that'd be like the equivalent to Ospreay and Takeshita, sorry, I'm still so used to saying it like that because I used to say it like that. But like that match, it didn't come close to that. And
No.
as good as Deonna and Tony are, and again, like I said, I really do not think that's the fault of either of them. It's
No,
just
not
more
at
that they're
all.
still
Not at
trying to
all.
find that
They
sweet
haven't got a
spot.
flow. There's no flow. It's like you said, like Deonna come in and she had, they built her up to face Tony. Now she lost, even though it was under, basic
Shenanigans again.
shenanigans. Like, but does she get a rematch, or is she just going to go back to the card and go off TV and they're going to move on to somebody else?
It feels like that that's how they're gonna debut Mercedes, to be honest. And I feel like right now that they really should keep Mercedes away from that title
It's
because
too soon.
you've got so many options for that title picture right now that you don't need to put Mercedes immediately in there. And I think they should follow the same kind of way that they did with Saraya. When they brought Saraya in, Saraya didn't work the world title for a while.
No.
Or not until they were going to
But like
All In.
when she did work the world title, it was because it was All In London.
Yeah.
And then when she lost it, she never came near it again.
She's been kind of middling, but like that's the thing. Like with Mercedes coming in, we all know that she's gonna come in and make a big statement, and she is. And if she is working Serena Deeb in her first match, that's a statement. And pardon the pun, but like that is a statement that look, Mercedes is not just coming in to win the title, hold it, and be the figurehead. She wants to work with Serena Deeb, who's one of her heroes.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm honestly, that match I feel like it could have been better, but I'm still happy that Tony's champion. I don't think it was Deonna's time yet. I think Deonna is certainly an AEW Women's World Champion, and I think they've done an excellent job of putting her at the app now where she's already an established star in that women's division.
Yeah, well, she's proven that in her time with Impact TNA, like, she's been champion there multiple times, and she's proven that she can work with anybody. So I hope they keep booking her strong after this, and she doesn't just disappear off TV because it happens too often in AEW, and this reason why they haven't got they have a stacked women's roster, but they're not being used. Like people like what's her name, Athena, like. She winning awards as wrestler of the year kind of stuff, and
that's
nobody watches Ring of Honor. There's no reason why she can't be on TV because Eddie's on TV, Samoa Joe was on TV, and he was the Ring of Honor champion for the men's, and there's no reason why she can't be on Collision every week.
When that's the thing as well, like this is the point that you have to make with these like comments about like there needing to be more women's wrestling matches. Again, there's no shortage of stars in that division.
Not at all.
There's no shortage of brilliant wrestlers. Athena, whenever they're ready to bring Athena over again and reintroduce her to the AEW audience, she's gonna be over as hell because everyone has been recognizing what she's been doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, just in general for the women's division, I think right now they really do have a chance to kind of ride that momentum. Mercedes, Jamie, Britt, just keep it going, keep going. You use that extra star power to bring more women into it.
Yeah. Moving on, next match. Well, what do we say about the next match? You can hear the dog barking in the background. He's giving out about the next match as well because he loved it. Will Ospreay against Kanofsky Takeshita. I don't know what to say about this match. It hasn't already been said in the last 24 hours. Not even 24 hours, 15 or 16 hours, like, but
I think I just like every time that Will Ospreay steps into the ring, it's special at this point. It doesn't matter who he's facing. And again, it helps that he's wrestling some of the best, like Michael Oku. Now he's wrestling Takeshita. But Takeshita didn't just belong.
Oh.
He was every bit as good as people have been hyping him up. People have been saying he needs to be away from the Don Callis family. He needs to be used more. He needs to be in more high-profile singles matches. Then you do that. I just the whole match, the Oscar into the Blue Thunderbomb, the brain buster on the top rope,
the rope burn is like,
oh my god! I have to say this though. Tony Khan being worried to the point that he wasn't sure if he'd be cleared for Wednesday, while Darby Allin got his back absolutely cut open. He's like, all right, yep. Good to go.
Yeah, I'm grand. I'm going climbing Everest. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, like it's crazy. I think that is a great litmus test. Not even a litmus test, but a kind of a sign how important Ospreay is to the future of AEW. To that man.
100%. Sure, the whole of All In's going to be definitely going to be built around him,
as it should be.
Absolutely.
And I said it to you before we started recording. His entrance, his like everything about his presentation, it's just straight out of New Japan. It's everything. It's the music, it's the colors, it's the United Empire, it's the robe. He just, even before he get wrestled, that's what he's always been one of the best. He's been that way for half a decade to a decade at least now. But he really, in recent years, he's really started to put his character, his presence into focus. And I think we really saw that coming out party for him for the first time as a full-time AEW talent.
Yeah.
And just 16,000 people chanting the Ospreay chants back at him. Just exactly how want it to be.
That's what you want when you sign up to a big company in America. You want everybody chanting your name, even if you're a heel, you want that reaction. And I just say, whenever they announced this match, it was like, it was going to be one of those predictable matches where, Don Callis and the rest of the family will turn on Ospreay and they'll be saved by the United Empire. But I'm glad they didn't go down that route, because that would have been a cop-out and too easy for his first, full-time official match for AEW.
He's very clear. Yeah. He's very clearly a babyface.
Yeah.
Even though he's in the family. Yeah. And I think that's a very smart move, because no one wants to boo this man right now.
No, you can't boo
They wanted to boo him when he was a New Japan name coming in for Forbidden Door, and he was attacking Kenny Omega from behind and, wiping his arse with the Canadian flag. But coming in, just even in his promo on Wednesday beforehand, just literally hitting all the notes of his catch, saying bro. Literally being as English as he possibly can be. Kermit the Frog. Yeah. He just comes across as an incredibly likable guy, and I think that's even before he starts wrestling. And again, I have to say it again, every counter in that match, every sequence in that match, the finish, the fact that it was a hidden blade, not Stormbreaker. They're going to build the Stormbreaker up again, which is something that I absolutely love. He didn't even hit it in that match, but he hit the hidden blade multiple times. He hit the Oscar.
He hit it once while he was kind of on his feet.
Was it
kicked out at one?
Yeah.
Well, no, that when he kicked out at one, he wasn't.
I like that.
It was more at the front. Normally, it's at the back when they're on their knees. He was kind of standing up. So when he hit that one, so
the way he hits that hidden blade as well, it's another one of those moves that he hits out of nowhere, and it's just as good. It's like a spear. He can build up to it. He goes into the corner, but he can also hit it from anywhere.
Yeah,
and it's beautiful. And it's beautiful every time, because he just throws his entire body into it. And again, Takeshita's German suplexes are just
good
grief,
folded him in half.
And just it's perfect form, perfect bridges. It's like I know people are worried about is the language barrier for Takeshita, and but the fact that he had theme music finally, thank God, the right guy won, and I really liked the aftermatch stuff, the bowing with Takeshita, the Don Callis stuff. Like again, Ospreay is kind of like, I don't really want to be doing this stuff with you, like with Callis. But then he's seen Kyle, and Kyle coming out, Kyle Fletcher coming out like he's a billionaire son, blonde
hair. What's going on with the hair?
Oh Jesus! I saw him coming out, and I was like, he's gonna turn. He's gonna turn on Will now, isn't he? And then the hug was brilliant as well.
And then they're having a match on Wednesday night, and
that's gonna. It's literally the Spider-Man meme because Kyle's just so like Will.
I know, yeah, it's just a real lanky version of him.
That match could main event the show, and it only helps Fletcher's television championship reign. Puts him again more.
What title is he holding? A Ring of Honor title, and he's on TV every week.
But yeah, I think we've said all we can really say about that match.
Yeah,
other than just
if you haven't seen it, just go back and watch. Just if you have to watch any match in this pay-per-view,
gonna watch it again later.
if you have to watch any match in this pay-per-view besides Sting's farewell, then watch this match. It would be, match of the year any other year, but he already had a match with Michael through this.
He's going to be literally, we're going to get to the end of the year and everyone's going to be like, what's match of the year? It's going to be Ospreay.
And it's only March.
Yeah.
Don't get injured and just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, and come September, he may be fighting for the WWE. Whoa! He may be fighting for the AEW. He may be fighting for the AEW title in Wembley. We're not sure who the AEW champion will be. Current champion Samoa Joe is definitely still going to be in and around the picture at that stage, hopefully. But the three-way match against Swerve and Hangman Page, people were predicting Swerve's. It was Swerve's time. Hangman, it's definitely not going to be Hangman's time, but Hangman and Swerve, the story they told was they were still trying to get one over on each other and left Joe to his own devices, and
Joe took advantage.
And in and out of a few spots here and there, Joe took complete advantage of them feuding with each other throughout the match. So what did you think of Joe still being champion after?
I expected it. I think that they kind of set it up very well that like everyone wanted Swerve to win except Hangman Adam Page. Yeah. So Hangman has been absolutely brilliant in this entire story, and it's the part about it is it's not about the title for him.
Not at all. No.
It's about Swerve not having the title, and I think that they did a good job keeping that end of the match kind of. Everyone wanted them to tap while looking at Swerve, I'm definitely doing this. They kind of left it kind of in the air. Did he do it? Did he? And Swerve just kind of definitely thought he did. So that feud's not over, and I don't. Well, obviously, again, Fightful Select. Hangman is going to be probably taking a break for a little while. So they set that up with the attacks during the match, with attacking referees. We know by AEW, he's not going to be around for a while. We've seen it with Athena. And to be honest, that was the moment where he finally crossed that line. And I'm happy that he did.
Yeah.
Because before then, I don't think he actually did anything that was really a heel act. It was all just a bitter, hateful
angry man who had somebody break into his house.
Like he was justified, But then when he started beating the snot out of, I think it was Remsburg came in second after Paul Turner got dragged out. But when he did that was just the click of right. He's a clear heel now. He's lost it. I cannot say enough how much I love the graphics team at AEW, because in the intros, Hangman Adam Page has completely lost it. Just I couldn't stop laughing at that. As for the match itself, it was as good as advertised. I loved having Jim Ross on the call for it.
Yeah.
As much as people like to say he's not what he used to be, I think he added so much to the world title and obviously the main event. And Joe, I feel, is the right winner now. Swerve's time will come. I think Swerve's time will come before All In. I think that the main event of All In will be Ospreay and Swerve because they have history.
Yeah.
Swerve can easily play the heel in London, and yeah, just I think Joe will drop the title to Swerve by. To be honest, they could go a lot of ways with that world title picture next, and
But they
it
haven't.
could
Did they announce recently about rumors of a new pay-per-view? They're on about 9 a year.
Dynasty,
Dynasty.
Dynasty was announced actually
Oh, a
last
date
night.
for it?
It's April. It's the end of April 24th, I believe. 24th, 26th. It's one of the 20s. But that's going to be a great pay-per-view, to be honest. It's a great legacy, obviously, the Dynasty legacy, you know, where that comes from, the Japanese.
Yeah.
Uh, just, I think that as well, that's something that people really need to realize about AEW, their connection to the Japanese world
Oh,
of wrestling.
it's
It's
the
it's going to
connection
be
is
engraved.
Tony Khan's obsession with Japanese wrestling.
People could complain about Japanese wrestlers be coming up and not being given video packages and like
Yeah, yeah.
whatever they want, but it's not going to change. And to be honest, I wouldn't change it for the world because at the end of the day, it's going to be an alternative, and they're doing a perfect job at that. So yeah, world title picture wise, I think Joe's going to hold on to it for a little while longer anyway.
Yeah. Maybe Dynasty. I'm not sure. Does that have
Yeah,
anything to do with Swerve or the Embassy or the Dynasty, or there's some connection there why it's called that as opposed to just the Japanese thing. So yeah, we'll
if
wait and
Hang,
see. We'll see what
yeah,
happens.
if Hangman's out of the picture, that provides Swerve a one-on-one opportunity without having to worry about.
Is that current against his rankings now that he's is that a loss in his rankings or
You just know Joe's going to take it as that.
Mhm.
Man was very clear. You lose, you go to the back of the line. So I think
who's
they're very.
who would you put in next if it wasn't Swerve if he has to go to the back of the line?
If see there, so obviously Wardlow is going to be next. We know that because he won the
Mm.
scramble. But if Joe gets past Wardlow and he doesn't work Wardlow at Dynasty and it's not Swerve, God, that's a loaded question. There's a lot of options. Depends what way you want to go with it. Personally, if he's true with if they can finish the House of Black stuff up, I'd put Mark Briscoe in.
Maria.
I would put Mark Briscoe in. I would put Mark Briscoe in that position. If you want Joe to have a title win that will a title defense that will
Mean
have
some.
people
Yeah,
invested
yeah.
from the get go. Oh my God, there's no better man than Mark Briscoe. He's been absolutely brilliant since coming in. And obviously, they had that TV title match that was brilliant. So I'd love to see them run it back. I really, other than Mark Briscoe, though, again, there's a lot of options that Tony could go with, but there's a lot of momentums that I can't see him wanting to
Yeah,
slow
yeah.
down. And some people take it as unfortunately, but Max is going to be back at some point, and we really don't know how long he's going to be on the shelf for.
Yeah.
We know he's going to be trying to get back as soon as possible because that's just who he is. But the world title picture in AEW is very interesting right now.
Yeah,
I'll say
it
that
is.
much.
It is. Main event, surprisingly a title match, a AEW World title match wasn't the main event for a pay-per-view. And it was only going to be one match. The whole show was built around the retirement of Sting, his last match. Going back to Greensboro where his feud with Ric Flair all began in that 45-minute Ironman match, or went to a draw. Um, a beautiful way to end a career. I had a grin on my face when I was watching this match from start to finish because showing my age, growing up in Ireland, we were able to get ITV and we were able to
Mm,
watch WCW in 1990 on every Saturday morning. And I
yeah,
was watching Surfer Sting and Ric Flair and Sid Vicious and Lex Luger and the Steiner brothers and all. And that was my childhood. So, we got to see Sting growing up. I got to go to WrestleMania 31 where he had his first match for WWE. He lost it, unfortunately, but I still get to see him live. We got to go to All in September or in August, sorry. It was August. Yeah, it was August,
yeah.
sorry. And get
You
to see
got to
him
say
live
it.
again. So, I would have loved to have been there live for this one. We had somebody on the podcast last week, Ted, who's actually lives an hour away from Greensboro, who was at Allin, and he was, buzzed. He'd been wearing a Sting t-shirt for the last fucking 2 months since he found out it was going to be his last match, and he got his ticket. So, yeah, a perfect way to end a brilliant career.
For me, obviously, show the age gap. But my introduction to Sting was as Joker Sting in TNA, like main event Mafia,
Yeah, yeah,
TNA
yeah.
World Champion. Like for me, yeah, I came in when he was starting to wind down as it was. He was starting to
Mm.
slow it down, and but even from the moment I started watching him in the ring as a character, as an entertainer, he's just a special kind of performer, and we saw that, and I'm so happy that he got to go out like that because like we Excalibur said it plenty. Not a lot of pro wrestlers get to go out the way that he did,
Very,
and
very, very few.
the match itself, I think, caught a lot of people off guard with the way it was, the
It
way it
wasn't
was
it wasn't advertised as a
Tortano.
tornado match at all, like until halfway through the first 10 minutes or something, I think.
They then Justin Roberts announced it, and I was kind of like, okay, that just made this match about 10 times better because no disqualifications. Darby Allin's going to do something crazy,
Hmm.
and good God Almighty, I get that people want him to slow down, but how can you not just sit back and just look at Darby Allin and just think this man just wants to give everything he has to this
He
sport,
has no care in the world.
and it's probably the most uncomfortable I've ever been after a spot. And I'm happy to admit that. Seeing the way his back opened up,
Oh,
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, like just then he didn't even go to the back. He just laid there and let
lay
Doc
there and let them
Samson do his
stitch him.
thing. And he wasn't even fully stitched up by the time
He didn't have
that
time.
the no. So by the time the finish got down, obviously we got the greatest hits.
Yeah,
The we're not sorry. We
we
hate
hate
you.
you.
Straight into the super kick spot. Just it never missed that the Sting Hulk up spot.
Yeah,
I don't think it could ever miss. He did it every time he did it in AEW. It was perfect. I think the fact that he got to win and he got to win the way he did with Darby helping him just lock in the Scorpion Deadlock, even if Darby was trying not to pass out from blood loss at that point. But just everything down from his entrance to the way he wrestled to how the Young Bucks wrestled, how Darby just
something,
perfect.
something like Ted when he was at the after the show, he messaged me last night, well, 5 o'clock this morning, whenever he was leaving the arena, whatever time he was, trying to mention maybe something they were showing in there. The glass that Sting went through was obviously sugar glass. They weren't putting them through real glass. The glass that Darby went through wasn't specifically sugar glass, but it wasn't like a pane of glass that you put in the window. It
Oh
was
no,
like
there was
tempered, but it was real glass, just a different thin layer of
Pioneer River.
glass. We were like wondering, did the puck books did they do that for a
They
reason
had
that
to.
they put
They
that?
had,
Right, let's do this.
and
Just put,
honestly, I can see Darby kind of just wanting to do it as well because it's Darby. Darby probably
yeah.
pitched about 5 or 6 different crazy
Mm,
ideas, and that was the one the Young Bucks were like, I like that idea, and went with that. But we knew he was going to do something insane. But I
yeah.
don't think any of us expected glass pane off a ladder with true chairs to the point like Darby Allin. There's a lot of like you can't really talk about Darby Allin without talking about the his history. He does have some like allegations against him that are still we will never know the truth about that,
Hmm.
unfortunately, because it was a closed door meeting between him and Tony Khan. And but Darby has been someone who I've like listened to on podcasts a lot, and he's never been someone to say this more than himself. He said before that when he was a young adult, he wasn't a good guy. He wasn't a
Mm.
good guy. He's been more than public about that. And I really do think, and I hate to say this because it sounds like I'm kind of justifying anything he did, but the man wants to pay back just his young adult assholeness. Like, and the fact that he got to go out there and do that for Sting, I think meant so much to him. And the Sting run couldn't have really happened without Darby. Like,
Oh, not at all.
Darby convinced him to do it. Darby's carried the matches when Sting. Well, I say carried. Sting's held his own, even for his age.
But you know, in tag team matches and multi-man matches, whatever, like you couldn't have Sting going on a singles run for the AEW title. It wouldn't have made sense. And you know, Darby's taken most of the punishment in their matches. I know Sting's done a lot of crazy stuff himself, but Darby's basically his battering ram. He's going to take all the punishment for him. And I know when you mentioned about Darby's, you know, youth, like just to mention Sting, you know, for someone who's been around the game that long, you know, in the generations that he's gone through with, you know, Ric Flair and Hogan and people like that who have had so much, you know, allegations and shit against him. You've never once heard a story about Sting, you know, nothing along those lines ever publicly mentioned anywhere. And it's, you know, a testament to the person that he is, that, you know, for, you know, somebody's been in the game for 40 odd years or whatever, he's just, you know, an icon.
Tony Schiavone
look up to.
Tony Schiavone said it. He's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, but he's an even better man. And that's just everything you kind of hear, every story you hear about, every meeting that a fan had with him, like, he doesn't have a bad word to say about anyone in the business, really. I don't really remember him, even when he looked like he wasn't going to be allowed to wrestle again after the Seth match. That man came out while Seth was getting absolutely just eviscerated. And he came out and he said, no, don't. Like, what, are you kidding me? Seth is lit. He said at the time, Seth was one of the best matches he's ever, or best wrestlers he's ever been in the ring with. So that's just who he is. And I again, like I said, I love that he won. I love that he got to win. And we all know he didn't want to win. We all know
he didn't want the titles in the first place.
Exactly. But I'm glad that Tony, Darby, Nick, and Matt were able to kind of just get him to see that he did it. He has earned it. And I love that he got to do it in front of his family, his children, in front of Lex Luger, who was there, who looked like he had an absolute whale of a time, which I love to see. But yeah, I think they could have given him a little more. Like, I know obviously there's pay-per-view restrictions and the whatever way it worked.
I know the way they ended it, they couldn't close it off, like shut down, but
they did a good job getting out there very quickly. Like, Tony announced it, and then it literally was like out there within minutes anyway. But yeah, just perfect end to his career.
Yeah. Have you any highlights from his AEW career, or even his TNA career, or anything you remember?
Everything, really. There's not really anything that kind of like jumps out because there's just so many. I loved All In. Probably my favorite part of All In was when the table didn't break. He got on up. He went and did it again, and that's just what he was always doing in AEW. If something didn't go right, he'd just go and do it again. And he was doing these insane dives. Like, I think probably if I had to pick one moment, it's the dive on Sammy Guevara.
Yeah.
That dive of Darby getting up and then Sting going, no, me, just couldn't have been better for me. I absolutely love that man.
I couldn't say it better myself. He's, I said it already. I grew up with him, so he is an icon. He's gonna live forever, as you say in wrestling. Like, and I'm curious to see what he does now. Is he just gonna, walk off into the sunset? Is he going to do a backstage role for AEW, or is he just going to end up, doing the circuit of
probably going to be an ambassador? I can see him being an ambassador for AEW, like just not a figure face, but kind of just someone that they can bring out there, just kind of not even bring out there, but pop up every now and then. Darby might need his backup once in a while. He's not going to wrestle. Doesn't mean he can't come out with his bat and be his usual vigilante self, as much as we hate that. Well, I hate the WWE run, but just I hope that whatever he does now, I hope that he he is happy with how he ended it all.
Yeah, yeah, gotta say it. Thank you, Sting.
Yep,
Thanks for the
thank you,
memories.
Sting.
Um, so that was AEW Revolution. Tomorrow night, as we record, hopefully I'll get this edited in time. But if we're watching it on Tuesday tonight, NXT Roadblock, then almost the final stop on the road to WrestleMania weekend for Stand and Deliver. We've got a few matches, some big matches announced for Roadblock. We'll start off first, something that you came up with, you announced, or you got the exclusive on last week, was Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears, not the
Not
perfect
Ty
10, not the
Dillinger.
perfect 10 Ty Dillinger, but actually Shawn Spears got to keep his name. Came back to NXT, and so far he's been advertised. They have a match, but they haven't announced his opponent yet. Are you happy to see him back in NXT, or?
He's someone that really, I feel like, didn't really get a fair shot in AEW. He was always kind of a background character, even when he came in. I feel like he came in with a lot of fanfare. He came in, absolutely murdered Cody Rhodes with a steel chair, and he never really got back to that. I've never, even when he came back after the Pinnacle split up.
Yeah,
he came back after that for that brief run where he seemed like he was with FTR.
Yeah, that's right. He was kind of a face, wasn't he? He came on the Collision that time, and
came out in Canada and just got an absolutely otherworldly response from the Canadian crowd. But it felt like they never really knew what to do with him. He was kind of just a body in the way for MJF, and then by the time his contract was coming up, I feel like he's going somewhere where he's familiar. And at this stage of his career, I don't blame him in the slightest. And if they're going to do what it looks like they're going to do, which is keep his entire pretty much AEW presentation, including his name, including the gimmick, just a little bit of tweaking. He's a great worker. Like, at the end of the day, he's a great wrestler. I'm happy to see him. Everyone was happy to see him when he showed up. No one fucking knew about it.
Yeah.
Everyone was happy to see him. I tell you that much. I in the short time that I've been doing like NXT exclusives and so on and so forth, I haven't had a moment that was met with such universal praise and happiness to see him back. So I don't know who he's going to face. I hope it's going to be someone at least a little bit credible in NXT. Maybe someone a bit different. Someone who we know can not even, maybe someone like Javon Evans. That could be a fun one. He's been on Level Up. They've been talking about they want him on NXT TV more often. So why not give him that showcase match?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a host of people he could go in there with, Dante Chen or Zion Quinn, who've been getting squashed on SmackDown recently by Braun
Poor
Breaker.
guy.
Like, so I don't know.
What you got against Zion, man? Come on.
Sure. Like, the worst thing he ever did was the Shawn Michaels, sexy boy in the middle of the ring in front of everybody, and he's never recovered from it. He literally has not recovered from that ever.
They put him as a free agent, and then they just didn't use him anywhere. They just didn't use him.
He looks the part, and from what I've seen in the early times I saw him in NXT, he looked all right. He could work. He was getting sort of a push at one stage, and then nothing.
NXT at the moment, it feels like it's just a rotating door of who they're presenting at one time. So it could be his time another time. But as far as Spears, I think he'll get a win and he'll be very quickly starting to move up the card because he's a great match for Elijah.
Yeah, absolutely. We mentioned Braun Breaker earlier. Him himself and Baron Corbin are defending the titles against Chase U. Is that a foregone conclusion? Braun's on them. He's on SmackDown now.
He's not going to drop that title anytime soon, and when he does, it's going to be because Corbin turns on him. They love him. They love that tag team in NXT. They've talked about possibly bringing it to the main roster, even because Corbin, again, free agent, he can move around if they want him to. But I think there's a lot more money now in a program between the two, possibly on SmackDown. Start in NXT. Start with Corbin turning on Braun in NXT. Bring it up to SmackDown. Have Baron attack him during another enhancement talent match, and Bing Bang Bosh, you've connected the two storylines.
Yeah.
They haven't been afraid to mix the two kind of levels recently, so keep at it is what I think. As for the title match, I think Braun and Corbin, I don't think are losing yet. I think if there is going to be a drop, it's going to be a stand and deliver, probably to the OC.
Oh, you think that's where they're going with it, the OC?
I think the OC missed kind of when they came in originally, 2016. They kind of skipped the NXT. Golden age of NXT tag team wrestling. So I'm interested to see if they get the chance to kind of show that, they still are one of the best tag teams in the world. And there's a lot of exciting tag teams in NXT. So I'm sure regardless of who walks out champion this week, it's going to be a fun road into Stand and Deliver.
Yeah, I hope it is. I hope it is them. We're going to it, like I said. So I'd love to see them perform live. So Dijak against Joe Gacy is also announced. What's going on here? Like, has Joe Gacy gone face? Is he a face? Are people getting behind him? He broke out of a straitjacket. He's like,
I honestly, it's perfect. It's a lot of fun. That's what all it is. It's just a fun, silly storyline with someone like Dijak who has lent into it.
Yeah,
it's brilliant. I don't know if
so well.
Gacy taking a camera backstage and sneaking up behind him and Dijak realizing it's him. I don't know if you've seen it. But it's absolutely comedy gold. And just their Twitter, the way that they've been on Twitter is brilliant as well.
Is it leading to them becoming a tag team?
I wouldn't see. That's the thing. I don't want Dijak kind of not. See, I don't want to say limited by a tag team because we all know how good he is. But I think Gacy at the moment is kind of finding his footing as kind of not a silly character, but a more character with a lot more depth than his schism portrayal of his character. So, the Asylum match is a match type that we haven't seen in a while. Long time, to be honest.
Long time.
But it's a match type that, as silly as it is, it's a good premise. Very similar to Lethal Lockdown, obviously. NXT do a really good job with these stipulation matches. I can't remember the last stipulation match that didn't hit in NXT. So I think we both know that it's probably going to end with a lot of Gacy laughing, even though he's getting hurt. And I think Dijak wins easily. Well, not easily, but you know what I mean. Very clearly.
Hopefully. I'm not sure what the plans are for Dijak for Stand and Deliver yet. Like, so Obafemi maybe.
We talked about this last time.
I know, it's a possibility.
Bringing it back to Batista, I feel like the give me what I want speech is with that, like, just so much fun. But that Asylum match should be a lot of fun.
A match we may get, I'm not sure is this official yet or something that they have in their minds, but Lyra Valkyria and Tatum Paxley against the Kabuki Warriors for the titles.
It is official.
So only going one way, right?
See, this is a match that any other time of the year, I'd say it's a very clear Kabuki Warriors win. But because we're on the road to WrestleMania, because we're doing the Bayley against all of Damage Control, I feel like there's a teeny chance we see Bayley tomorrow night. Jesus,
really?
I think that's how you start that. I think a Lyra and Tatum run with the belts would be absolutely hilarious. I love their storyline. I love how good Tatum's been in this. I think Tatum is someone that went from someone who was kind of just in the mix in NXT to now being just one of the highlights of the show, and along with Lyra. And obviously we all know how talented Lyra is, and we all know she can do this character work. We've seen it with Debbie before. Like, she can do it. So I don't know which way this match is really gonna go.
Well, it all depends who they have lined up for Lyra at Stand and Deliver.
I think they're gonna go with Tatum. I think they have to. I think, again, there's no better. Like, we're seeing kind of two different versions of this storyline at the two big companies. We're seeing Tatum and Lyra, and then we're seeing Mariah and Tony. And both matches are building to a nice payoff. And it's again that inspiration from the likes of Sami Zayn in the Bloodline of just, and of course going even further back, Mickie James with Trish Stratus.
Yeah.
These storylines are a lot of fun. They're goofy, they're silly, they're borderline cartoonish, but when the talent lean into it as well as Tatum and Lyra do, like I love everything that they do. Just the small little mannerisms. Lyra puts her hand out, to protect Tatum. Tatum is all over the feather, the gear. Like I would love to see Lyra and Tatum as champions. I want to see this storyline run right into Stand and Deliver, where the face. And Asuka and Kairi don't lose anything from dropping those titles. We know they're going to kind of be background characters to the Io and Bayley feud. Yeah. And what better way to kick off that feud again than by, again, just why not? We all know Bayley's history in NXT. We all know Io's history in NXT. We know Asuka's. We know Kairi's. We know Dakota's. It's a no-brainer to me to have them kind of just, bring Bayley in, give a nice little pop. But if she is there, you bet your ass I'm going to find out about beforehand.
I'll be keeping my eyes open to see what you're sending. The last match advertised, it's a main event in anywhere in the world. Carmelo Hayes against Tony D. Winner gets Dragunov at Stand and Deliver.
I think we all know where this is going.
I think we know where this is going, right?
I think this match is going to end very, 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 as we say, dusty, because there's going to be a certain man who's going to make his comeback. Dragunov is going to obviously be there. Tony obviously is brilliant to watch live. He's a brilliant character. So I think Melo wins. I think it's going to be a very fun match to get there. I love the segment they did last Tuesday in the ring. I love that Tony just came out and made his play. And Dragunov, as usual, loves that kind of stuff from everyone. I think that they did a really good job of putting these two in a position where they're not just rushing to the Melo Dragunov match or the triple threat match with Trick. So I do think Trick's going to be back tomorrow. I was told last week that if there was a landing spot for him to come back, that Roadblock would be his possible landing spot for a return. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a really fun night at Roadblock. And
do you think Melo's winning?
I think Melo's winning. I think
really.
I think it has to be
because Trick and Melo at Stand and Deliver, though. He's coming back for revenge.
But is Tony and Dragunov a headline match for Stand and Deliver? I don't know. I love Tony. He's a former North American champion. He's a tag team champion. His character work is brilliant. His ring work is brilliant. But I feel like you would be absolutely insane not to have that triple threat match and have Melo steal the title again. Because, my God, just that man as a heel is just on another level. Just on another level. Trick as a babyface is on another level. Dragunov as a murderer is on another level. So I do love that Melo is almost terrified of Dragunov. And I think if I don't know if you've seen all Dragunov's social media videos lately, quoting
Severus Snape. Do you see him skipping? Jesus,
that man is terrifying.
That's fucking ridiculous.
And then the neck push-ups with weights on his neck, and then he's literally doing 2-finger push-ups. You may as well have a Rocky. You did the Rocky run-off for Cody. You may as well do it for freaking Dragunov as well.
Well, who is he though? Is he?
It's too.
Can't be the bad guy. Then it can't be just.
But he has to be though.
He's not the bad guy though. Everybody loves him.
But you know, he'd have the Drago. If he dies, he dies attitude, especially with Melo. So, just
I put
Roadblock
him more
is
as a Homer Simpson getting shot by a cannon than Drago.
the way that man bumps, I can see it. But I think Dragunov is one way or another. He's gonna be finishing up in NXT before
Yeah.
Mania, and I'm not gonna say for a second that that's a bad thing because
No, yeah, I
that
can't wait to
man,
see him on the main roster.
he will translate just as well as Gunther,
Mm.
if not better. And the minute those two step foot in the ring together,
I wish
oh,
I wish it was happening at WrestleMania.
it has to be Chad Gable or Sami Zayn though in that regard, or put both of them in a triple threat with Gunther and just let them have the match at night. But again, Sam, oh Jesus, this road to WrestleMania is going to be so stressful for me
Yeah,
because I have no idea where anything is going.
I know it's great. I
Um,
cannot wait.
but before we do finish up, I
Yeah,
will say about Roadblock, keep an eye out. There will be a return on the show. Not Trick. Trick, I don't know about Trick yet, but there is another return in the works. I don't know if it's going up on Select today or tomorrow, but hopefully it should be up before Roadblock. But yeah, fun little return that a lot of people have been kind of asking about, and pretty predictable. But I won't say any more about that.
no
But
spoilers. No spoilers in the
it
show.
it will be a very fun Roadblock show tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to the road to San Antonio.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Corey, before we let you go, have you anything you plug or anything coming up interview wise? You've been, you know, every day, every couple of days, have been interviews coming up from Fightful, overbooked for yourself. What's coming up for you?
Tomorrow, I am sitting down with someone who is we talked about him quite a bit on the high when we were talking about high stakes, Mr. JJ Gale. We're going
Oh,
to have a
nice.
nice little chat with him about the Revolution Rumble, that match with Luke Jacobs, Ospreay leaving, and I'm definitely going to have to ask him about uh, just possibly coming over to OTT because if there's ever a man that would fit that style,
Mm-hmm.
he's absolutely brilliant. And later on in the week, returning back with OTT, he's showing up in TNT soon as well, Mr. Damien Corvin, who I'm very looking forward to. He had a little bit of a. I'm looking forward to asking him a little bit more about Flex and would he ever want to go on Love Island? So we'll see how that goes.
Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. And just to mention, you were at the OTT GAF party on Saturday. How did you find it being in
Uh,
in OTT? You know, after being, involved with all these people on their interviews.
it was just a brilliant event. Obviously, there was issues with the venue, as
Mm,
Joe has said on social media. The main event, one of the best like on a weekend of wrestling that I absolutely loved. It was one of the best matches of the weekend for me. Probably the most I've seen a lot of people say it, and obviously, as I've said to you, my let's say fandom of Irish wrestling has kind of grown, but
yeah.
it was one of those world title matches that was truly special. We say it a lot that the most important wrestling is when it makes you feel, but when it's got that backdrop of just excellent wrestling as well, and it's just different thing entirely. I mean,
Yeah.
actually, I was gutted to see Trent Seven win the title. His theme music has been stuck in my head since Saturday, uh, but after kind of thinking on it, I am looking forward to seeing what he does next, and I really, really, really do hope that Barry is the one to take that back on off him
Yeah,
as
yeah.
much as much as I'd like to see Sammy with that belt again. It's time for him
It's
to
Barry's
take. I
it's
think it's
Barry's
time.
time.
Yeah,
You'll be able to see Sammy D. He's actually, as far as I know, he's going to UK. He's going trying to break into the UK scene soon enough. So you expect to see him around the UK over the next
won't
few
take
months as
long.
well. So he'll absolutely smash it over there as well. But he's
The
not
one
leaving the Irish scene. Like he's just going to take more bookings outside of Ireland.
the one thing I will say, it is a shame that I do want to mention Charlie Sterling's injury.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
He's going to be out for a while. You did mention
yeah.
he's going under the
Knee
knife.
operation. Yeah,
That's a real shame. And I feel like him and Sammy had one of the more interesting storylines in OTT in
yeah,
2023, building up to their world title match. And it really is a shame because he really was starting to gain momentum on the British scene as well.
yeah, yeah.
So it would have been nice to have Charlie there with Sammy when he is over in the UK, but we both know, everyone in Ireland knows, it's not going to take long for Sammy to take over the whole goddamn continent.
Snake on top.
Yeah.
Lads, as always, we will be back as of this recording. We're going to do a live stream tomorrow night. Sammy D is facing Terry Thatcher at Hard Knocks this Sunday for the Hard Knocks title. Terry the title he never lost. He's coming back for. We'll be doing a watch along for the first match, which was for the inaugural Hard Knocks title. So we'll be doing a watch along tomorrow night, or if you're recording this on Tuesday, it'll be tonight, live stream on Twitch, and we'll be doing hopefully once it comes out on demand, the OTT Gaff Party, once we get a chance to watch it, we'll be doing a full review of that show as well. So stay tuned for more, and as always, like, comment, subscribe to Corey on Fightful Overbooked. Watch all his YouTube, all his stuff on YouTube, and you can get it on all the audio platforms as well. So we'll see you on the next one, lads. Thanks again for tuning in. Thank you.